Kraftly is an e-commerce company that is looking at serving the supply side needs left unaddressed by bigger companies. The company specializes in bringing Tier 2 and Tier 3 city sellers online and also takes pride in raising a huge homepreneurs community. We speak with Chief Business Officer Akshay Ghulati to find out the strategies that he is looking at using in order to distinguish itself from bigger players like Flipkart and Amazon. Well, you have quite successfully established Kraftly as a C2C platform that hosts several sellers from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities as well. Please help us understand a bit about the business model and also the kind of sellers and products that you host on your platform.
Kraftly is a small seller enablement platform. So by itself, most people would call us a marketplace, and we're a marketplace for unique products. So what we focus on is an online flea market experience. It's not just about small sellers. It's also about individuals, about homepreneurs who want to set up a business from scratch, and they don't necessarily make something themselves, but they know how to source beautiful products. And a lot of these sellers are coming on our platform, these homepreneurs rather, are coming on our platform and curating a selection of 50, 60 products from their local markets, from stores that they're aware of, and selling these products across the country. And it's been great because a lot of people who did not have an income earlier, who were looking for something to do, are able to just use a mobile phone and create a business. And in many cases, these homepreneurs have now become big sellers. We have about 125,000 sellers on the platform right now, over 5 million listings. And our focus, while we deal in about 17 categories right now, our focus is on 5 or 7 different categories. And we decide our focus basis of the unique products that we can source.
Well, in a sector like e-commerce, where there's cutthroat competition and consumer is the king, the interests of the sellers come last. But you on Kraftly have emphasized a lot on keeping the interests of the sellers first. So how are you empowering sellers on your platform?
Our focus on empowering sellers is on 2 key areas. One of the key areas of empowerment is access. A lot of our sellers have not traditionally had access to online e-commerce. They've not had professional catalogs, product descriptions, etc. They're just good at doing what they do, which is make beautiful products. And by creating a simple tool, which is basically converting your mobile phone into your office, we're able to help these sellers go online in 30 seconds and be able to sell to consumers across the country. So I think access has been a very large part of the empowerment that we are providing these small sellers. And the other part of empowerment for us has been about making these sellers successful. So we have an initiative called Kraftly University, where we publish articles, we publish blogs about how sellers have been able to be successful both on Kraftly and through other online platforms, what tools are available for free, what we provide, and how these sellers can use these tools to be successful online generally.
Well, even though you have successfully carved out a clear niche for yourself, it is going to be very difficult to maintain a unique identity amid the expansion plans of big players like Amazon and Flipkart. So what kind of business strategies are you looking at formulating in order to keep your business intact and maintain a niche for yourself?
I think, yes, differentiating yourself in this market from the larger players is very, very important. Because at the end of the day, our consumers are not very different. At Kraftly, we believe that the same consumer who walks into a shopping mall also walks into a flea market offline. So essentially, you're just catering to a different need of a very similar person. And whilst the bigger players, the branded websites, e-commerce players that we have out there cater to one need of a consumer and one share of the spend of the consumer, we are here to cater to the other half of the spend, which is the spend that happens in your local market. So I'm trying to create that offline experience online with Kraftly. We provide sellers with a platform to be able to build their own brand. So we don't want to subsume a seller under the Kraftly brand. So we give sellers a website for free, for example, which no other platform in India does. So if a seller wants, they can create their own brand, they can promote their own website without having the Kraftly name ever appear. Only when someone comes to buy the product will the Kraftly backend logistics and payment gateway kick in. So we're letting sellers build their own brand.
Well, you have been able to scale up your operations very aggressively in past 1 year. But going forward, what kind of expansion should we be expecting from Kraftly? And also, can you please help us understand a bit about your fundraising plans and so far, who have been the investors in your company?
So we've had 3 rounds of funding so far. So the business was incubated by 5 ideas and 500 startups initially. Then in our Series A, we had Nirvana Ventures and Beanos come in. And in our last round of funding, Nirvana Ventures, Beanos, and Recruit all participated. So in all, we've raised about $9.5 million of capital so far. There's always funding news around the corner, hopefully. But most of our funding that is going to be raised now is going to be around building the platform and scaling it, especially reaching out to many more sellers across the country that we can. And we believe that we've created a unique base of supply in India. So we'll also be dipping our toes and seeing how we can give these sellers access to global consumers. It does not mean that we're going to be launching in 5 different countries, but we're definitely going to try and see how we can create a network of partnerships or alliances to be able to provide global consumer demand for our seller base in India.
Well, of course, technology is a big facilitator of business. So how are you using technology in order to achieve efficiency in business and also to scale up your operations?
We define ourselves more as a technology and product company rather than a retail marketplace. And I think that's how we've built up the business. So anecdotally, just to give you an idea, a year ago, we were at about 1/3 of the size that we are currently, and our workforce has only increased by 10% to be able to achieve 3x scale in the last 12 months. And we've been able to do this because we use technology in pretty much everything that we do. So for example, one of the core parts of a marketplace business is to be able to get more sellers to come on your platform. And we don't have any people who actually go out into the market to be able to get these sellers on the platform. So we use digital marketing techniques to be able to reach out to sellers across the country. At the same time, once sellers come on our platform, dealing with a small seller segment does mean that you get a very rough catalog or a very rustic catalog that comes in. It may not have all the description and all the material necessary for a consumer to be able to make a purchase decision. We use visual recognition technology, we use catalog enrichment technology, most of which we've developed in-house, to be able to build a professional catalog for these small sellers at no cost. So I think these are some of the examples that we've used technology to be able to scale the business, and we expect to continue to do so and hopefully achieve 10x the scale of where we are and maybe just another 10% increase in our workforce.
Well, considering the kind of business model that Kraftly has, it is very obvious that we would need a lot of strategic alliances to provide the supplementary services that the sellers and the buyers would need. So what kind of strategic alliances have you struck so far, and what kind of alliances are there in horizon?
Absolutely. So a large part of the business alliances that we've developed over the last 12 months have been about how we reach out to small sellers across India. So we've tied up with the National Handloom Development Corporation, and through them we've reached out to weavers, artisans, and manufacturers across the country and promote the Kraftly platform to them. But more importantly, what we've promoted to them is the ability to sell online. We partner with a lot of universities across India when they have their annual festivals or whether they have conferences, especially the universities around the arts and crafts, around fashion design, because we believe a lot of the future entrepreneurs of this country are going to come from these universities. And we provide them with a website, for example, for free, even at an early stage when they're studying. So they're able to explore the world of online selling right now without any cost again. As the platform has scaled, a large number of homepreneurs who started with us have become bigger, and now they want to build their own online brands. So we've started partnering with some of the largest digital marketing platforms in the country. So the idea behind tying up with digital marketing partners is that irrespective of how big Kraftly becomes, we want to provide our sellers who are part of the Kraftly family the ability to be able to grow even beyond the scope of Kraftly. And in this way, they're able to take this free website, promote it on Facebook, Google, or any other digital media that they want, and pay us no commission. So we found sellers who've almost tripled their sales volume using tools which are not really part of the Kraftly marketplace, but through these alliances that we have in place.
Well, so far, Kraftly has been very successful in business. Can you please give us a few benchmark figures and also some milestones that we are looking at achieving in near future?
So as a platform today, we are at $3.5 million in revenue. And this revenue has scaled almost 3x in the last 8 to 10 months. So we've seen tremendous growth coming. Going forward, we're expecting another tripling of this revenue in the next 12 months. And we have enough leading indicators to show that this momentum is still continuing. But more than revenue, our focus now is on growing our seller base. It always has been, but we're at 125,000 sellers. And that's a key part of how we view the success of the platform is growing this 125,000 number to maybe 10x in the next 12 months. And that's a large part of why we're expanding and why we look for funding is to reach out to more and more people and make them successful online. And I think those are the key benchmarks which is going to pretty much be a measure of our success over the next 12 months. So hopefully we've hit this when we speak next.
With its focus on small seller segment, Kraftly definitely is in a position of advantage. The company is definitely not looking at getting into the premium segment and competing with the likes of Amazon and Flipkart. With the kind of strategic alliances that the company has built so far, seems like there is no possibility of the company falling short in terms of supply. With all the advantages on its side, Kraftly is definitely on its way to prosper. Thanks for being with us on VCCTV. Keep watching this space for more updates.